Today we're joined by Antonio Briceño, Country Manager, Beyondsoft, Costa Rica, and we will be talking about talent and recruitment. Antonio, thank you very much for being here and your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
What are some of the strengths of the Costa Rican talent that can be seen overseas and maybe plays an important factor of establishing an operation in Costa Rica?
There are several. I would say, strategic advantages to talent in Costa Rica. Let's start a little bit with the historical aspect. It's talent that has been evolving, and thanks to a 25-year adventure that began in this country when foreign direct investment was attracted to Costa Rica, with companies opening up shop and training and upskilling the first generations of people who began working in the services sector for multinational corporations that were opening up here. And fast forward 25 years, you have an enormous ecosystem of around 400 global corporations working here that have been investing in training, in talent development, and we have around 150,000 people within that ecosystem that are learning every day, that understand global concerns, that understand that have a global flavor to how to work, how to deliver, who have been trained in English, who have been trained in industry-specific skill sets, be it in finance, be it in technology, be it in human resources, be it in operations, be it in operational excellence. And so right now, it's just really, really attractive to come here because you have highly specialized talent that is going to be ready to add value within a very short time frame.
When you talk about specialized talent, can we talk about one or two maybe specific sectors that we either shine or have that possibility to shine in the near future?
I believe that we're shining in several sectors. If I could mention a few, I would definitely say operations of different sorts, be it back-end operations or frontline operations that are transactional, and that although require entry or very little seniority to do, have an enormous factor of scalability in Costa Rica, or an enormous advantage of scalability in Costa Rica, where you can scale very fast. And that's where everything began. And I would also mention enormous strengths in finance, in financial operations, and FP&A, finance, procurement, and accounting. I'll stay away from the acronyms. That has very strong here with major players from the corporate world who have opened up operations here in Costa Rica. Technology is visibly one of the greatest strengths that Costa Rica has, with an enormous amount of talent. From the starting help desk tech support up to complex managed services, complex development of whatever software and whatever language you can imagine. I recently had the opportunity to work with a client who was looking for a very specific and rare technology. And we were actually very surprised to see that we found 5 people who had that, when the expectation was 0, and we're actually looking for a more basic technology to upskill them, right? So talent in tech is impressive in Costa Rica. Again, finance, and more so looking into more complex areas in operations. For instance, you're going to find an important amount of experts in operational excellence. who can drive improvements, who can drive efficiencies, who can go in and take processes and make them so much better than what you received. And that's been a trait in Costa Rica, that companies come in and they're going to set up and recruit and go through their onboarding and train people, start working. And within the first 2 years, they're going to notice that they already have talent who can take whatever process they brought from the US, from Canada, from Europe, and there's going to be fresh eyes looking at it and making it a lot more efficient.
Added value process.
That's an enormous added value that Costa Rica has, and lots and lots of experience there, right? And it's something that can be just extended cross-functionally across industries, right? And so again, you're going to see strengths in finance, you're going to see strengths in technology, you're going to see strengths in operations, and lots of possibilities for scalability.
I'd like to move on with a two-part question, if I may. So, moving back to what you just mentioned about, there was this company that had zero expectations. We found 5. Was this one because those 5 individuals are just eager to learn, move on, and they try to gain that competitive advantage and grow their professional career? And the second is, how do you take advantage from a management perspective on nurturing and making sure that spark never dries? If I'm making myself
This technology is so specific that when our office in Seattle looked for people within the state of Washington, there were only 30. And you're talking about one of the major global technology hubs on this planet. There were only 30 in the state of Washington. And so when I say we found 5 here, it was actually 5 people who had a level of specialization, a level of advanced knowledge of this technology, which we were very surprised about, because initially what we did was we looked for people who had knowledge, advanced knowledge of the technology that had come before this. And we had agreed with our client to upskill them into the new technology, right? And that's what you call transferable skills, right? You look for people with maybe you're looking here, so you're going to bring it here and then upskill it and take them where you want them to be. So much to our surprise, there were people who had that skill set. And maybe at different levels, so there was going to be a need to invest in upskilling, but not as much as we initially thought, which was surprising, because look at the scale, right? 30 in the state of Washington. And we found 5 here. So, I mean, and that's something that about Costa Rica and the talent in Costa Rica, it's that it just does not cease in surprising us. As far as the adaptability, as far as people who are really eager to learn and to advance their knowledge.
With your clients and internally, when you're talking about the hiring process, if we can move on to the hiring process, because one, we're sure that potential clients of yours or actual clients of yours and companies that might come down to Costa Rica will be looking at this, will be watching this. There is a possibility as well that there's going to be somebody in the network that is actually trying to move on to their next stage, or they're coming out of college and moving on to their next phase. How do you guys structure your hiring process? How can a hiring process look like if you're starting from zero to fill, let me throw out any number, 20 positions. So let's not go as specific at this the high level of detail and specialization that was required for this client of yours in Washington, but how can that look like, and what can potential candidates do on their own to look for that, to fill that position?
I would say maybe it's a twofold question. From the company side, and this is just our practice, it's really important to, before you begin hiring, to hire either a partner who has advanced expertise in what you're looking for, or make sure that you bring in your own recruiters and that those recruiters are experts at what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Why? Because when you have recruiters with an advanced knowledge of the roles that they are searching, that they are looking to fill, you're going to cut down on time. And you're going to make sure that the candidates that get submitted for your consideration are the ones that you need from a quality perspective. Right? So you want lots of candidates to come in. But more than lots of candidates, what you want is high quality so that you can hire quickly and ramp up quickly. But you are only going to accomplish that when you find recruiting that understands what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, the wait time and the hassle might be considerably higher. Now, and to answer the other part of your question, it's very important for people maybe who are just graduating from high school and are choosing what they want to do, their next steps, to look at, number one, what they're good at, and number two, how can they get employed? How is the market moving? Do they can they get a certification that within 3-6 months gives them a qualification? And in technology, that's super important. The certifications, being on cloud, mm-hmm. of different types, be it on cybersecurity, be it on specific technological services. That's a huge thing right now. Or maybe from the financial perspective, how can I learn accounting? How can I learn how to manage or execute procure-to-pay processes, order-to-cash processes, record-to-report processes, right? But people, it's important that people take a look at how they can achieve knowledge, I would say. How they can achieve knowledge. For people that are more senior, I'll tell you a story. I know a gentleman, very smart, very qualified gentleman with lots of experience, who found himself in a pause in his career. Mm-hmm. Nobody was hiring him. And he took a certification in cybersecurity, a good certification mm-hmm. in cybersecurity. Just finishing, he was hired by a major corporation in a very good position that leveraged his past knowledge mm-hmm. with his new knowledge. So it's important for people to take a look at what they know now and what can they learn or achieve that's new and that has that employability factor, let's say, to enhance and make their profiles more attractive.
You mentioned ramp up time when we're gonna create those hiring processes. One of the misconceptions, I might say, that happens when the company's looking to start this operation is we want to go through or we already spoke with the lawyers and we already spoke with tax. We're ready to start in Costa Rica, so we're gonna look for the space and we're gonna start hiring tomorrow. And then that doesn't happen. So from your perspective and your company, how can you become an ally on this process, this transition, this initial phase, whether it be from the actual recruiting and filling those spaces, or offering an alternate solution when somebody wants to actually hit the ground running?
Hit the ground running. When companies have decided to set up, there's going to be a process. You just described it succinctly. That's going to take a few months, as far as going through all the compliance and the legal steps and all the different filings that they have to do. So yes, that takes time. And if a company wants to hit the floor running, for instance, my company, many times how we support our clients goes way beyond recruiting, because what we do is provide a build, operate, transfer solution, BOT, by which we recruit people in partnership with our client and according to client's expectations. And we take these people and bring them to work for us. And we bring specialized staff from our company who understand operations and who understand people development, who understand training, who understand how to ramp up the actual teams. And we do that. We do that. We are a free trade zone company that is properly set up. And so we use that to leverage our abilities. And so we build the team, we put it into operation, we stabilize it, which is very important. And in the meantime, our client can worry about going through the different processes and filings that they have to take care of and complete for them to be operated. And so we get the teams operating, and then we transfer. Like build, operate, transfer. We transfer the teams over to the client so they can manage them directly. And we do this in close partnership with clients. And this, of course, allows them to hit the ground running, so to speak, and start, because sometimes our clients and companies might have commitments and a timeline to meet, right? So that's where a service like that can be really useful. Yeah.
Antonio, is there anything else that you would like to expand on particularly?
When a company is choosing its next destination, specifically if located in the United States or Canada, and looking for a nearshore option, there's going to be different locations that are attractive. And it's important for companies to look at, of course, the nearshore time zone option, the democratic system, the strength of a democracy of the country they're going to be opening up the operation in. The stronger a political system is, the more democratic a political system is, the more prosperity there is. And that is a known fact. Brilliant scholars have researched on it, and it's true. And that's something that Costa Rica shines on, right? Our political stability. They have to look at cost. But when looking at cost, it's important that they don't compare and say, oh, this location is cheaper than that location. They have to compare how much they're going to be saving from where they are right now, and then factor in, on the long run, how much are they going to be saving by operating in a country that, number one, is stable. Number two, what's the country's resume as far as the corporate world? Which country has a quarter of a century of experience hosting some of the largest companies on the planet in Latin America? And that would be us. That would be Costa Rica, right? Where are they going to find the right ecosystem where they can come in and develop people, or find people who are already very specialized? Many, many different factors. Which country is 3 hours away from Miami, 4 hours away from Dallas or Houston, and has super easy access? Which country has over 30 universities? Over 30 universities graduating from the 100% of their total students. About 60% are engineers. Right? And the second highest percentage is in business administration, right? Which are two very, very important, just larger skill sets that companies are looking for.
Yes.
Right. Where are they going to find a talent pool that has been nurtured within that ecosystem? And those are things that make Costa Rica a very, very unique place to come and do business. If you also add something really important, despite the fact that we have 5-point-something million people here, everybody speaks English. And they speak an advanced level of English.
Mm-hmm.
And when you compare that with other locations in the region, it's not that easy to scale. And looking for bilingual talent, and that is key. So those are just a few things that I would add. There's also, thanks to let's say the history that we have, companies are going to find it very easy to engage with firms who can help them as far as much like ourselves with recruiting and building their operation, with staffing their operation. They're going to find firms that are specialized from a legal perspective and that are experts and have been doing it for a while. They're going to be finding firms who very well understand the real estate for their offices.
Sure.
They're going to find also very valuable partners in Procomer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Procomer is a very strong and knowledgeable organization that is geared up to help people open up shop and be successful in their investments. So those are things that are important for companies to weigh in and look at that when during their decision decision making process. And so it's cost is one thing, but there need to be many other drivers. And finally, risk. There's always risk when you're doing business in another country. And when I say risk, people are going to think about, okay, so is it security or is there a war there? So no, not at all. I'm talking about there are about 16 different ways or factors, that go into calculating a country's risk level. From just political stability, freedom of speech, economic stability, education level, and all these. When you put all these together, Costa Rica is rated as the second least risky place to do business in the planet. Right? The first least risky place to do business on the planet is Australia.
Okay.
And then second it's Costa Rica. And you know what? I think that is a powerful message of what a great place this is to do business. And as having the privilege of heading a global organization myself, my company is not at all sorry of having opened our Latin America office in Costa Rica.
Antonio, what would be the main things to take into account when a company is starting a recruiting process in Costa Rica?
Have a very good understanding of what you're looking for and very well defined expectations of the profiles that you're going to be looking for. That's the first thing. If you can also, and if not, different partners can help you do that. But if not, also have clarity on what's your investment going to be, and what's your maximum, what's the minimum. I would also recommend finding recruiters who can really make a difference and who understand the language that you're speaking. That's crucial. Third, have your job descriptions ready. Really engage with your recruiters. Explain, have intake calls. Explain, understand your process. So are you going to have two managers interviewing, and maybe you have a skills test that you're going to do online, and then you're going to vet with a fourth interview? What I see is many times companies might not have that clarity. Okay. And it's important to have your process well established, and don't have a long process.
Okay.
Have an efficient process in which you can cover, and that's something that we can work with our clients. We help in that sense. Have an efficient process, because it's really important if you want to hit the ground running to move at a nice pace, at a good pace in recruiting. Those off the top of my head would be the suggestions that I have.
Mr. Briceño, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully, one of our viewers wants to engage with you. We'll have the information there, and you get to work on something with them.
Well, thank you, Stefano. Great to see you again. And hopefully our message creates a thought process. And if people want to engage, of course we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much.